There are a lot of surprising things that happen in this first half of the season. Very surprising things, shocking.
Congrats on getting to season 12. This is really. Did you ever expect that the show would stay on this as long? You've been on since season 4.
Yes. So I got really lucky joining the cast in season 4. They were celebrating their 100 episode marker at that point, and like I was supposed to do 3 episodes just to see how it would work with myself and Will, and then I was testing for another show at the same time and got offered that gig as well. And so Blue Bloods was like, no, wait, well, we're gonna make her regular, like, so it was kind of a little bit of a lucky for me bidding war. And the best news is that I decided to stay on Blue Bloods and not on the other show, because the other show is over in 2 years, and Blue Bloods is like the gift that keeps on giving. So
did you feel like a special connection with Marissa? Because she was in the same boat where she was brought in, and it wasn't sure if she was going to be on for as long as she has been.
Right. So we both of us we talk about this actually a bit, where we're like, we just both got very, very fortunate to get the partners that we have. Like Donnie and Marissa are so iconic, and myself and Will, like we just got along immediately, and like, loved each other immediately. So we got lucky on so many of the stars had to align in so many different ways. And we just got really lucky.
Well, what do you think the next big step will be for Eddie and Jamie in the new season?
Well, we're married now.
Yeah.
So, we have the conversation. I am curious about what will happen, what type of family they'll make. Yeah. If they will have children of their own, if they will adopt, if they will decide that that's not something that they want. Like it's definitely a big topic of discussion.
Yeah, and
the neighbors are having renovations and stuff. Like we've been dealing with this all year. So the neighbors on this side were doing it, and then the neighbors on this side. So I apologize if you hear that noise.
I didn't hear anything. So.
Okay, good. It just like getting into my brain. I'm like,
oh yeah, it must be tough to live with that. but it was a major topic throughout all of season 11. Like they're talking about their future and where they were going. But I also liked at the end of season 11 when you started working with Anthony from Aaron's office. That was really cool. So has it been exciting to do a new storyline for Eddie?
Well, it's fun because I'm kind of a flow. In a way, when Jamie and I stopped working together, there is I have this. I don't know if this is true, but I feel like I'm like a bit of a floater. Yeah. I can go and do work with Anthony and Aaron, or I can go and work with Donnie and Marissa, or there's one. This will be fun trivia. There's one character on our show that I have never done a scene with, and I've never spoken just to that person, someone at the dinner table. And so I asked to have a scene with that person. And so I'm really excited this next episode that we're filming that's coming up, I get to like have a storyline with them. And so I'm like, it's cool. It's fun to be able to kind of bop around and do scenes with all of the everybody in the cast right now.
Are you excited about, doing more work outside of the police uniform? Because it sounded like Eddie was so excited to do the undercover work.
I love doing the undercover work. It's fun for me as an actor because then I don't have to wear the uniform. I'm not confined to that. You're going to see me out of uniform a lot in these first 5 episodes. A lot of stuff with Witten, played by the genius Lauren Patton. So we're out of uniform, or I'm out of uniform quite a bit in the next, the first beginnings of this first season, or first episode, sorry. I'm like, I worked today with Tom, and I'm like, still kind of like, did I do okay?
Well, that brings up another question about the dinner table, because before before Eddie and Jamie married, you really didn't get a lot of scenes with Tom Selleck.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that must have been really cool to you share a scene with him every episode.
Right. Yeah. Now we're old pals. No, the dinner table was like joining a totally different show. I was on a completely different series all of a sudden. I was like, oh, all of these new faces to play with, and like getting to work with Tom and Len, and like these people that are just, you know, legends in my mind, and like getting to hear them kind of break down scenes. And it's like, if I'm quiet long enough, I feel like I could possibly learn a little bit of something about how to act. but I tend to talk a lot.
Has there been like an acting lesson that you've picked up that you really feel like, oh, that I wish I knew that sooner?
And well, you know, Tom is really good at he doesn't give you, he's a total actor's actor, so he would never give anybody notes, but he'll give you like I was thinking that I was going to do it this way, and I wonder how your character would react if I did something this way. It's sort of like leading the witness. And you're like, oh yeah, better idea than I had, much better idea than I had. Okay, you're right. You know, so he's fun to work with, and he has taken a real interest in myself and Lauren's storyline. So in the first episode, it's fun because he read a scene and he was talking with our director Dave Barrett about our storyline and had ideas, and so Barrett passed along those ideas. And then when Lauren and I were getting ready to go shoot this big scene, Tom was there, and so we were like, "Hey, do you want to talk us through the scene and like sort of read through it with us?" So he like lovingly like read through the scene with us, like gave us like different ideas and different things, and then Barrett was cool and he let us go and stage the whole thing, block the whole scene without anybody else. So just the two of us got to do it. And then Tom was the one who edited that scene together. So I feel like this one scene in the first episode of season 12 is like a masterpiece. It's
really cool to hear how cohesive the show really is, because there's, you know, Danny has his stories and Erin has hers, and you and Jamie have their stories. But it's nice to hear that you know, you guys are all working together even outside the dinner table scenes.
Yeah, I'll ask Bridget for advice all the time. I'll, you know, kind of run stuff by her and see what she thinks about something, and by the writers and the direction. I mean, it's a very much a collaboration for sure. And it only, I would say that, and whereas many shows just kind of become, we know how we do this, we do it a certain way. I feel like this show evolves in a lot of ways behind the scenes, and we've only become more collaborative, and like, you know, everyone has more of a voice than they ever had before. So I mean, that's so rare. I'm very.
And one of the big evolutions was also the introduction of Joe Hill to the story, and I hope we get to see more of him in season 12.
You might.
But what's it been like to welcome in a new family member on the show?
Well, Will is like such a special, open, giving actor, and he's a stage actor, you know, started on the stage. And it was actually, I saw him in his show. He was in The Voice Inside, or I can't remember what it was, but it's just him and Mary Louise Parker. And I didn't know that it was him that was going to be on our show. And I had just seen his show like the night before, and I totally fangirled over him. I was like, oh my God, you're so amazing. And like, oh, we're so lucky to have you. I like fully lost my cool. And I think everyone at the table was like, wow, way to make us seem very cool, Vanessa. Really lost the cool points there. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you're such a big star. Like, I just was a total dork. So, but he's so, it's always fun to have somebody new at the table, you know, and I haven't even been there that long. So because it's fun to watch their faces try to make sense of all the people.
Yeah.
Like looking around the table and like try to connect with every single person and like, where do I look and how do I eat and what, it's kind of fun to watch.
It's so fun to watch the reaction shots.
Yeah. Oh,
especially from characters who weren't directly involved in other stories. And they're like, what was going on in the last hour?
Yeah. It's really, really, it's a trip to watch the family dinners, rehearsals and filming. I think is probably the most fun. If we ever get to have guests back on the set, that's the most fun one to come to.
Are there any big surprise guest stars you might want to tease us with?
Surprise guest stars. I don't know about surprise guest stars. There are a lot of surprising things that happen in this first half of the season. Very surprising things, shocking, and get your Kleenex out. Like it's good. This is a strong season so far. From what and I've been able to see some of the first episode, and I'm just like, it's wonderful. It's everyone's on.
It's good that the show keeps pushing in new directions.
Totally, and I always say this, like I love that our show tackles really big topics, and just kind of it tells you what happened. We just tell you this is what happened. And then the chips fall where they may. The audience can decide what's right, what's wrong. They can see the gray areas, and I think we put the ball in the audience's court a lot, which is pretty. It's just pretty special. And even when I watch the show, like I'll watch an episode and I'll end with a different opinion than I had when the first time I read it. It's a rich story.
Yeah. Well, before we go, I do just want to ask one quick question about the Pretty Little Liars reboot. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I literally said, a girlfriend of mine did all the readings.
Yeah.
And he said, which character did you play? And I was like, I was Charlotte. And she goes, okay, but you had a different name. And I said, Cece. And she said, not that one. And I said, oh, Charles. And she was like, that's right. You were, okay, got it. And then, everyone's been asking me if I'm going to be on the series, but I genuinely cannot remember if I died or not. I don't know if I know I was in a casket once, but I think it was like I took a sleeping pill and I was still alive. So, what my point is, anything can happen. It's Pretty Little Liars.
Anything can
television.
It's all.
And like, talk about rich with stories. I am very, very thrilled that they're doing another series of it. It'll be fun.
Well, Vanessa, I think we've reached the end. But it was amazing talking to you, and I wish you the best of luck on the new season. Really excited.
Thank you. I hope everybody watches. It's going to be a good one.